Hello and welcome to the Webcast for Monday, September 1st. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. Visible satellite early this morning shows we're starting the day off mostly sunny with a very shallow and ragged marine layer and just a few mid-level monsoonal clouds mostly to our east. The most notable feature remains a significant plume of smoke coming off of the Garnet Fire, which remains active this morning. Here's a look at the maximum humidity values since midnight last night. Our recoveries last night were not great for the most part. The lower elevations, as usual, did just fine, but a lot of the mid and high elevations saw fair to poor recoveries last night, which will help continue the fuel drying trend we've seen the past few days. We have a pretty complicated and uncertain forecast ahead in the next couple of days, so I'll try to break it down piece by piece. Starting with the daytime today, that looks pretty straightforward, as it looks to be just a downright hot summer day in most areas as we begin September. These are the forecast highs, upper 90s, and triple digits will be the rule in most cases, with minimum humidity dropping to around 12 to 25% in most areas, locally a little lower. And while a highly isolated thunderstorm across the Sierra or northern deserts can't be totally ruled out, it's more likely that the daytime hours today will stay dry everywhere. The most uncertain and potentially most impactful period in the forecast comes from late tonight through Tuesday. During that time is when a monsoonal disturbance is expected to track from south to north across the region, bringing with it showers and thunderstorms. What I'm showing here is a model forecast of what the radar may look like, and I tried to pick one that best fits my thinking on how the event will unfold. At least one, and likely multiple rounds of storms will affect the region from late tonight through Tuesday. The lowest, but non-zero storm chances will be along the central coast, and there will be medium to high thunderstorm probabilities in most other areas across the region, including the south coast. The air mass will become quite moist, however, these storms also look to be pretty fast-moving, which can be problematic by increasing dry lightning risks. And because these storms are associated with a disturbance and won't be purely driven by daytime heating and instability, there's a lot more uncertainty on where they will occur and exactly how much moisture and lightning they will bring with them. We're going to stay in an active monsoonal pattern for several more days. By the midweek period, confidence in the forecast actually goes up because it looks to become a much more traditional pattern. Showers and thunderstorms Wednesday and Thursday should become more confined to the mountains and deserts of Southern California and the high terrain of the Sierra. These storms should be more uniformly wet and slower moving and follow the typical daytime heating cycle. So again, overall, if there's going to be any surprises in the weather this week, they're likely to be in the shorter term and not so much by mid and late week. Speaking of the late week period, we may have our first taste of fall on the horizon. There is growing confidence that a Pacific troughing pattern will develop by this weekend or early next week. This will scour out the monsoon moisture, but will also bring a substantial cooling trend with temperatures likely trending below average. If the trough is strong enough and can grab some Pacific moisture, there is even a chance for the first snowflakes of the season across the high peaks of the Sierra early next week. From a fire potential perspective, we're definitely looking at a mixed and complicated picture. Before we even get back to the lightning, it's worth re-emphasizing that today is going to be a very hot and dry day, and there will definitely be potential for a non-lightning related new large fire to occur, along with very active burning conditions on the Garnet Fire. Beyond today, it is all about the lightning, and no matter how it plays out, abundant lightning is likely from tonight through the next few days, and it will cause new ignitions across the region, and probably a pretty high number of them. Overall, and very broadly speaking, the pattern is not favorable for significant growth on new lightning starts. Storms will be mostly wet and trend wetter with time. The air mass will become quite humid for the next several days, and then there's a cooling trend expected this weekend. Still, like with the last round of significant monsoon moisture, the sheer number of new fires could be quite large, and a high workload is likely for IA resources. With so many fires potentially starting, there is a non-zero chance that one or two ignitions could become larger fires, even though big picture conditions aren't favorable for significant spread. And the setup for tonight and tomorrow is a concerning one meteorologically. Some of the worst lightning fire outbreaks across the West have occurred in these types of patterns. However, there are a lot of mitigating factors in play for our region this go-around. We still have some lingering beneficial effects of recent moisture, we'll have the continued humid and showery conditions through the next several days, and then we'll have that looming cool down this weekend to further reduce fire risk. If some of these factors weren't present and we were looking at a hotter and drier weather picture to follow the upcoming lightning, then we would probably be looking at high-risk conditions in a number of our PSAs. In any case, the weather forecast should still be closely monitored over the next couple of days, and while this forecast will hopefully capture the overall themes well, you should still expect some surprises to occur. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Tuesday, September 2nd.